Rogue Record.
What's up, everybody? You're listening to Hustle Makes It Happen, a podcast about the grit, the determination, and the mindset that it takes to become a winner. Success is not an accident. It lives outside your comfort zone, in the trenches, where excuses are met by brick walls. So strap in, tighten up, and let's get ready to hustle. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Hustle Makes It Happen. I'm JB, this is Garrison, this is Chase, and today we're joined by my good buddy, Landon Magee. Landon, how are you?
What's up, dude?
What's up, man? It's great to have you here. So whenever we started the show, we told our guests that you're gonna hear from a lot of different types of people, right? You're gonna hear from entrepreneurs, you're gonna hear from athletes, you're gonna hear from coaches, teachers, great moms, but you stood out to us because I think that the struggle that you face in your line of work is a little bit unique, and we wanted to get your perspective on grit, on not quitting, on really taking a big chance. So you're a musician in Nashville. You up and left your house at 19 years old, moved to Nashville with a guitar and a dream, and you're out there making that grind. Tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us about that story.
Yeah, so I moved to Nashville in I believe it was May of 2016. I was 19 years old. I finished high school. I was playing gigs at like Mexican restaurants, and I'm pretty sure that was my only gig. Don Juan's Mexican restaurant, and we
not Nacho Mama's.
Nacho Taco. Yeah, it's Nacho Taco.
I need to put that one on the list. So that's what I did. I moved to Nashville literally like maybe a week after she told me that. I didn't have anything packed. I barely had some money saved. I had enough money saved up to where I could stay in an extended stay hotel, I think, for like a month. I think that's all I had. So I didn't tell anybody, didn't tell any of my friends. I think I told my dad like maybe 5 days before I left. So I think the only people that knew was my mom, my stepdad, and my sister, and then my dad and my grandma was the only people that knew. And so I moved, and when I got there, I was 19, so I couldn't get in anywhere after 6 downtown on Broadway. So during the day, I got there at like 2 o'clock, so I went straight to Broadway because I thought that's where you get seen at on Broadway. So I went there, and when I got there, I was in this bar, and this guy let me up to sing a song, and then he told me, he was like, dude, you need to come to this audition for the circuit or whatever that I'm playing on. He said it was at Tootsie's, and that was on a I moved there. I got there on Thursday. The audition was on Saturday. So Friday I went down there, and I was down there all day, literally when the bars opened until they kicked me out at 6. And I was watching from the street. They had the big windows and stuff on the street side, so I would just watch from the street inside, the people playing and stuff. So anyway, I went to the auditions on Saturday, and I got there I think the audition started at 2. I got there at 10. I was literally the first person in the bar. Waited there for 4 hours, ate some lunch. I couldn't get a drink. But audition, I was the first person to go. I think I played Friends in Low Places, My Kind of Party by Jason Aldean. There was one other song I can't remember. But when I got done, the guy that books everything or whatever that was hosting it, he told me to come back Sunday for a 10 a.m. shift. And that's all he said. He said, come back at 10 a.m. in the morning. And I was like, okay. Didn't bring a guitar. Nothing. I didn't know what was going on. But apparently it was my first gig, so I had to borrow somebody's guitar because he didn't tell me. So I played my first gig, and I think I made maybe like $120 on a morning shift from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And I called my mom, and I was like, dude, I just made $120. That's more than I was making in a week back home. Like, I think I might stay. So I stuck it out. I stayed at that hotel for like another 2 weeks, I think, and then I had enough money saved up to where I can found a little apartment in that area. It was a safe little area in Bellevue, Tennessee. So that's what I did, and then the rest is history. I've been grinding it out ever since. At some points, I was playing like 7 gigs a week, 2 times a day. It was rough.
Right. So, man, that takes a lot of guts. So, you made this decision at a pretty young age.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, 19.
Yeah.
Pack it up. Throw it in your car or truck or whatever you had, and you just rolled out.
I'm surprised my truck made it, to be honest.
where did this type of mentality, where did it manifest from? Where was this instilled? Like, because that's a gutsy move.
Yeah,
Some people go to college, but there's kind of a laid out roadmap with some of this stuff.
Right.
Go to class. I'm going to do this. 19, they make some big jumps of leaving their cities and homes to go off to college, but you had no roadmap. There was no guarantees or I'm going to do this. You showed up on Broadway the day after you get there, and you're just rolling around, man, trying to hustle.
Yeah, we're literally winging it.
Yeah.
The past 6 years have been winging it.
Where did this type of mentality come from?
I think it was instilled in me. Like, I played baseball all my life, so my dad, he always was hard on me, and like, don't ever be scared to do anything. Like, he would have me up against a fence taking ground balls every day, bruises all over me. So I don't know. I've never been afraid to really do anything. And then when I was in high school, one of my favorite coaches, his name is Nate Murray. He would always tell me basically the same thing: never be scared to do anything. The only thing that can happen is you fail or somebody says no. That's the worst thing that could happen. So I don't know. I didn't really see myself moving 8 hours away ever. Honestly, I don't know where it came from. It was just on a whim. I think if I would have thought about it a little bit more, I probably would have backed out. But the fact that my mom was like, "You need to do it now, or you're not going to do it," I was like, "All right, bet."
Yeah, I think that's kind of important. So you made that decision kind of in a snap. Like, I mean, you said, 7 days from the time you had that conversation with your mom until you moved to Nashville. I think there's probably a lesson to be had there. Like, a lot of people think about taking leaps and taking the next step, but they'll allow themselves to kind of talk out of it. You didn't even give yourself the opportunity to talk.
Right.
You didn't even think about it, right? And that's the gutsy part, man. You just up and rolled. And I think that leap of faith is probably what's allowed you to be successful, at least to some degree.
Yeah.
And you have to have a little bit of a self-confidence in your abilities too, right? You have to, because if you didn't, then you wouldn't take that leap of faith like that.
Right. And then you think that, and then you get to Nashville or somewhere else, and you're like, holy crap, dude.
The level of talent is high, right?
Yeah, what am I doing here?
So with you seeing that, it actually is a great point. I'm glad you said that. So you get there, and there's talent everywhere.
Everywhere, dude. Literally, like, street performers, I felt like were better than me.
So you're grinding, getting some gigs.
Yeah.
What happens next?
So yeah, like I said earlier, I was probably playing 7 gigs a week every day because that was my only income. So I had to, if I wasn't playing, I wasn't making money. And the rent was high. So I was always scared that if I don't have a gig, I wasn't going to make rent or I wasn't going to be able to eat. There was multiple times where like it was iffy. But yeah, so I was literally working every single day, 7 days a week, sometimes 2 or 3 gigs a week. Then I was also always scared that what happens if I get sick for a week? I just lost out on $1,200 or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So it was always, that was up in the air. But thankfully, I always had gigs. People were always asking me to play gigs. The guy that was booking the circuit was always calling me to get gigs. He said I had to look. At the time I was wearing a cowboy hat. I showed up today in white high tops, white high top sneakers, but I was wearing a cowboy hat and a belt buckle and all this other stuff. So he thought that I had the country look that you had to have. So thankfully he was always keeping me busy. But yeah, so I met this guy named Justin Brown. So I was playing gigs every single day, hoping and thinking that that's where I was going to get seen. That's where a record label or something, because I don't know if you've heard that song, Crazy Town by Jason Aldean. Mm-hmm. That's when I moved there, that was my picture of Nashville. Like, I go play on Nashville or Broadway or whatever, and this record man's going to come up and be like, dude.
You're it.
Yeah.
You're the next thing.
Yeah. But then, like you said, like, you get there and the talent's just ridiculous. So then that kind of goes out the window. You're like, if these guys hadn't been seen yet or been heard yet.
How fast did it take you to realize the lay of the land was not
very long?
Yeah.
Not very long at all. So, go ahead.
No, I wanted to kind of tap into that because that's a really good point. You were there for not long. But you've been there for 6 years, right? Mm. Not very long into it, you realized that it wasn't what you thought it was, but you didn't quit. You had not quit. You haven't moved home. You haven't given up. And there was a time you mentioned in your questionnaire that like you thought that was the end. Right when COVID hit, you were just talking about if you get sick and you're out for a week, you lose $1,200, you don't make rent. COVID happens in 2020. You've been in Nashville for what, a year and a half or
it was
2
probably,
years?
It was probably about 3 or 4 years at that point.
So 3 years, you're 3 years into it, and you got some steam, and then boom, exactly what you're afraid of happens when COVID hits. Talk about that. Like, what did that do to you mentally?
Dude, that was a whirlwind, bro. So I'd written a few songs, and I met up with a couple good songwriters, and we were all writing songs and stuff. And literally, it was like I was playing gigs 4 or 5 times a week at this point, and the other days that I was off, I was writing. I was always doing something with music, and then COVID hit, and everybody's talking about the gigs are going to go away. Nobody's going to be able to write because we can't get in the room together. And everybody's freaking out. Everybody in Nashville is freaking out. People moved home before COVID even like was COVID, really. They were all just scared, like not going to make a living. The jobs are going to be, scarce or whatever. So there was some of my buddies that were already moving back before COVID had even like reached America, really. So then COVID came over here, and it was just like everybody expected. The gigs went away. Nobody could write. We were Zoom writing, but then it just wasn't the same. So you get through like half a write, and you just be like, bro, I'm not feeling this. So, for me at that time, I was living with the girl that I was dating, and COVID happened. I was working at Bass Pro Shop at this point. I picked up a job when COVID started happening or whatever. I picked up a 9-to-5 job, and I was playing gigs when I could. I wasn't getting paid a lot at Bass Pro Shop, and it was really taking a lot of my time away from writing and thinking about music. So I was doing that. I was living with a girl, and COVID was happening, and it was just a mess. I feel like everything that I've worked on for 3 years was just collapsing, I felt like. And turns out I found out the girl was actually cheating on me. So that was even a bigger, problem. So all this stuff is coming down on me, and I'm just like, dude, I don't know if I can do this much longer.
Did you make a sad country song about this?
I wouldn't call it sad, but I did make a song about it.
I know. I mean, I'm not to get too Taylor Swift on you, but I was hoping that something generated out of that breakup.
It was actually one of my biggest songs so far, too. Yeah.
Plug it, man. What's the name?
I appreciate it, baby.
Yeah,
Plug the song.
What's the song?
It's called "Find Me."
Find Me. All right,
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah, but so anyway, I've called my mom multiple times, almost to the point of crying to my mom, saying that like I don't want to leave, but I almost feel like I have to leave now. And all my buddies are leaving. None of them's really doing music anymore. So my stepbrother, he's one of the captains on towboats for Blessy Marine. So she said that he could probably get me on there, and
which is back home, right?
Right. It's out of New Orleans. He said that he could probably get me on there just through COVID. When COVID ends, I can move back, keep doing music or whatever. I didn't really want to do that, but to me, that felt like the only option. I actually applied for, I think, your company too at Exxon, just so I could be home, I could be around people that I know, I love, my family and stuff, and I could still make money. And then when it's all over, I can move back and pick up where I left off, kind of thing. But so all that stuff happened with the girl, and the COVID was happening, and I applied for Blessy, and after it was almost a year, bro. They finally got back to me, and offered me the job or whatever. And COVID was still full swing, so it's a blessing, I guess. So I moved back. Well, I didn't move back. They actually told me in the interview process that they would fly me from Nashville, because Nashville was one of their hubs. They'd fly me from Nashville to wherever my boat was, Houston, New Orleans, Baton Rouge, wherever. So I was like, okay, cool. I can stay here. I'll go work for 20 days on the boat, and I'll fly back to Nashville, and I'll have 10 days off. I can write, do whatever I want. So I was like, this is perfect. So I did that for probably 3 or 4 months, and then COVID disappeared, and here I am working on the boat now. So I'm like, dude, now what do I do? I don't want to be gone for 20 days because I feel like I'm missing out on all the stuff that's used to happen that stopped. Now it's happening again. So now what do I do? So I ended up quitting the boat probably 3 hitches in. It wasn't a bad gig, actually. It really, I think, kind of got me back on my feet. I was making enough money to where and I wasn't spending the money because I was on a boat. So I was able to save that money up. And then I think after my first hitch, I had enough money saved up to where I was telling you about Justin Champagne, his producer, Austin. I had enough money saved up to where I could go write and record with him in Lafayette. So when I got home, I was in Nashville, flew home to New Orleans, and I drove my mom's car over to Lafayette and recorded a song with him, wrote a song, and it actually was one of my first songs that got playlisted on Spotify. So then after that, the next song got playlisted, and the next song got playlisted, so I don't know, I feel like it just all kind of worked out.
So something I wanted to touch on, I know you've probably heard a lot of no's.
Oh, yeah.
In the time that you've been there since you took the leap of moving to Nashville. So how have you dealt with that mentally, emotionally? Because I know that's a thing. I mean,
Yeah.
it's got to be a big roller coaster, and you have to have some type of mindset to be able to keep pushing out of that.
Right.
So dive into that a little bit.
For me, dude, a no is more fuel to my fire. You see what I'm saying? So even playing baseball, I started as a freshman in high school baseball. So all the upperclassmen and stuff, they hated it because I was the young buck, and I took a few people's spots that were like older than me, and they would always tell me, "You're not good enough. You're just a freshman." Blah blah blah, and so that would fuel my fire. And then when I moved to Nashville, there was everybody told me no, dude. Everybody, and I like rap music. I like pop music, country music, rock, all kinds of music, and I always wanted to dive into like the country rap. Almost, you know what I'm saying? So I was always scared to do that, and everybody told me, like, that's not going to sell, dude. Don't do that. Like, you're going to embarrass yourself. Everybody's going to talk about you, blah, blah, blah. But I never got into, like, the record side, like the record label side of things, so I never really got told no by any of those guys yet. I'm sure it's coming. But for the whole rap thing, me and my roommate, we like to goof off. He likes rap, R&B stuff too. So we like to goof off when we're in like a writer's rut. We'll just goof off and like freestyle or something. And we actually made a song, and he posted it on TikTok, and it like blew up on TikTok. So we were almost forced to put this rap country song out. And actually it blew up and it did really good. Now it's one of my highest streamed songs now. I think it's like 65,000 streams now or something. It's not crazy, but it's a big win for me, I feel like. But ever since then, I've had labels hit me up. I've had managers hit me up. I'm actually working with a manager that manages under Colt Ford's record label. He's my manager now. A few deals have been offered. So all those no's saying that I couldn't do rap, I couldn't do what I wanted to do, what was me, led to all these small wins, I guess.
Yeah.
So for me, you hear no all the time. You're going to hear no all the time, but I use it as fuel. Like,
motivation.
I'm the only one that can tell myself no, you know what I'm saying? If you tell me, hey, I can't do this, I'm going to be like, hold my beer, bro.
Something I wanted to kind of circle back to is you said you left without talking to anybody. You didn't talk to anybody about the fact that you were going to be moving away, and you just kind of did it. Was that intentional, or?
I think so, because again, with the no's, it's easy to avoid the no's. So I think that's what I was kind of trying to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I didn't tell anybody because all that, you're crazy, it's never going to work, you're going to be back here in a month. I didn't want to hear that.
Didn't want to hear it.
No. So I just avoided that.
But you still got it after you left, I
Yeah.
imagine.
Yeah. There's no avoiding it. Like, you could try to avoid the no's, and that's kind of what I did. I steered around it, but it's always going to be there. Somebody's always going to tell you no.
Is it just noise to you? The can't believe you're still doing this?
Yeah. Now it's like,
Let it roll off your back.
yep.
Yeah, just watch. Keep
Yeah,
watching. Yeah.
yeah.
Dude, I think it's like that grind and that grit is like one of the primary reasons that we wanted to get you on the show, right? I mean, you got to go out there and just get it day after day after day. And I mean, you've seen like little small degrees of success, but I mean, you've been there for 6 years, right? And nothing's exploded like you thought it was going
Right.
to. But I love the way that you look at the little successes and take the little failures and put them to the side. Like that's that's a huge lesson in itself. And not a lot of people, matter of fact, I would say the large majority of people do not have that quality, right? They'll focus on the little failures and not look at the little wins and try to compile the little wins, because we say that the culmination of small wins is what's going to end up leading to success. On success, you have a really interesting take on success. So we asked in the questionnaire to give us your definition of success, and I love what you said about it. You said, I don't want to say what you said exactly, but you don't talk about the actual outcome of success defining success, right? You talk about the feelings that are associated with success defining success. So you can have, some degree of success where, like, you had your song with 65,000 streams or whatever. That's a win, right? That outcome, having that many streams, was the win. But whenever we asked about your definition of success, you talked about the feeling that's associated with that success. So, I mean, I even love the little example you gave. You talked about how if you win a ball game, right, that's success. Winning the game is the actual, like, tangible success. But you didn't talk about that. What you talked about was how excited you are after the game and dogpiling on the field and being pumped up. It's that feeling that you associate with success that's really, really interesting to me. Talk about that a little bit. Like, how, like, if something makes you feel successful, then it, in your mind, is successful.
Right. Yeah, that's my mindset. If I wake up and I feel like, I feel like I look good, I feel good, to me that's a win starting off the day. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. To me, happiness, I feel like, is success. Everybody talks about how you're successful if you're wealthy, if you have a lot of money, if you're famous, blah blah blah. So for me, you don't have to have a lot of money to be successful. I feel like to be successful, you just have to be happy. I feel like to be successful, you have to surround yourself with other people who share the same interests, who don't put you down. In Nashville, it's a whole nother world, because in Nashville, everybody's kind of out for themselves. So it's really hard to think like that in Nashville. So I've really had to hone in on that. But for me to be successful, I feel like I'm successful because I'm healthy. I have a good family. I make enough money to pay whatever I need to pay for. So that's success for me. As long as I'm happy, I feel like I'm successful.
I love that outlook, man.
When I get unhappy, and like the dog pile thing or whatever, that's happiness, is it not? So that's happiness. When you hit a home run, you're just fired up and you're happy. To me, that's success. You know what I'm saying? Whenever I strike out, or if I'm unhappy, then that's when I feel like I've failed.
Yeah, that's unique. I think a lot of people have lost that today. Is they look at success as being a house or a car or a certain amount of dollars in their bank account.
I mean, and that's successful too. You know what I'm saying? But that's not all that life is.
Right. Yeah, that's important.
That you're only going to have those things for a certain amount of time. You could be happy forever.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's how I look at it.
So when you wake up, you kind of touch on another thing that we talked about. You like being humble when you wake up. Talk about it. Like, what does that mean to you? Because it seems like you have a lot of inner peace about your path, and that's grown since you've been in Nashville, obviously.
For sure. Yep.
A lot of self-growth.
Yeah, absolutely. Humbleness, man. I feel like I think I put in the questionnaire too, where one of the questions was if I could tell my 16-year-old self something or whatever, it would be to love myself more, pay more attention to myself. My grandpa, whenever he was still alive, he would always say, I would get a haircut or something, and I'd be like, Papa, you like it? He's like, if you like it, I like it. If you're happy, I'm happy. So I kind of took that and ran with it. But as I moved to Nashville, and I kind of realized that I'm not going to make everybody happy. So it's hard to make it's literally hard, impossible to make everybody happy. So if I can't make them happy with me trying to make them happy, like, I need to focus on myself and make myself happy before I can make anybody else happy. So I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this, to be honest.
That's all right.
It's all good, man.
No, man, that's a point. It's conversational. It's all right. I get what you're saying though. You have to stop worried about the noise of making everybody else, and you're looking for that inner peace, because when you're smiling, it's infectious, man.
Yep.
I mean, for everybody. If you're breeding positivity because you wake up and you feel good, haircut looks good, you got out the shower, you're nice shaving, whatever, you feel good about yourself, you're breeding that out in the world, man. You're putting that positivity out in the world every day.
Yep.
I think you talked a good bit, going back to kind of being humble. You talked about, remaining thankful, staying humble. Like you mentioned the role that your faith plays and ensuring that you stay humble. Talk about that some. I mean, what does staying humble whenever you wake up in the morning, what does that do for you mentally?
I think it almost brings a peace of mind. It helps me stay grounded. I always try to call my mom when I wake up. She definitely keeps me humble. But I feel like if you're humble and you go throughout your day being humble, that energy vibrates to other people. You know what I'm saying? So, and then that goes back to the happiness thing. If you're humble and you're grounded, and you know that, I feel like it's impossible to not be happy if you're humble. That makes, like I said, that vibrates to other people, and like you said, a smile could be,
it's infectious, man.
Yeah. So it then that leads to if you're happy, I'm happy, because I wake up humble, I wake up happy. That may make somebody else happy. If I just smile at somebody, that may, who knows what they're going through. That may make their whole day.
How does that work with your artistry? Where do you draw that type of inspiration for writing or beats or a song? Where do you draw some of that from? Because I have a zero music abilities.
You mean just like where I get my inspiration from?
Yeah, like where do you stem some of the stuff that Is it brainstorming with other artists, like being in a collective group of people? Does that fire more things off for you?
Yeah, for sure. So I kind of go through the writing process. So whenever I have my circle of friends that I write with, they're all great songwriters, all great dudes, girls.
Is this like a group on Facebook you just try to find?
No.
Where do you find a group of writers? Because I don't know one except for one sitting in front of me.
Probably a lot easier in Nashville.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But no, Nashville's super cliquey, bro. You believe it or not, it's basically like high school all over again. Everybody has their clique. And for me, I'm just I hate cliques, so I'm just kind of on the outskirts of all the cliques.
You just kind of bounce around.
Yeah. So I'm friends with everybody, so I can kind of write.
Being the social butterfly is not a bad thing.
No, it's not. It's actually very refreshing, actually. I don't have to deal with all their drama. I just kind of
go hang out with the other group.
Yeah. But I kind of have all these different circles that I'm friends with, and but one specifically, I have like 4 or 5 guys that I like to write with. I guess that's my clique, maybe. I don't know. But we get in a room, and it starts off kind of talking like we're talking now. We just all kind of go through the BS and see what's going on in his life or her life, and then you'll scroll through your phone, and I'll show y'all here in a second. But I have thousands of just one-word notes or a chorus that I spat off in my head or something in the truck, and we just kind of brainstorm and throw ideas off each other. And then whenever our producer, whoever's in the room producing, he'll kind of feel the vibe that we're going with, what the conversation's going, and he'll make a track, and then somebody will start freestyling almost, and we'll be like, hey, that line's good, but the one after that sucked, but let's go with the first line, and then we'll feed off of that. Then there you go.
So feeling the energy is definitely how it starts off.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You could come into a room, and I could be just the happiest go-lucky person, but the other 2 or 3 guys are going through a breakup or something, and I'm like, well, I guess we might be writing a breakup song today. A sad song.
I like it.
But it's always cool, though. Going into a writing session is almost like therapy, kind of.
Okay.
For sure.
Nice. Just get it all out there.
Yeah. I like to say there's no rules. So you can say whatever you want to say, and it never leaves the room. So
So you've gotten to open up for a couple bigger names.
Yeah.
Who'd you open up for?
My recent one was Coffee Anderson at the. It was actually my hometown in Washington Parish in Franklinton up there. It was cool. I know him and his fiddle player. What was her name? Melissa, I think. Her and I were actually. She played gigs with me in Nashville when I was on the Tootsie's circuit. When I first moved there, she was living in California at the time, and she was thinking about moving. And she would just get up on stage and like fill in and play fiddle while I'm up there singing Garth Brooks or something. Yeah. And then next thing I know, she's on tour with Coffee, and so I hit her up. I'm like, dude, I'm opening for Coffee here in a few weeks, and she's like, no way. So that was a cool full circle moment, I feel like. But yeah, Coffee was my recent one, and then. Believe it or not, dude, before Luke Combs, I didn't put this on the paper, but before Luke Combs was Luke Combs, he played, he was on tour with Brantley Gilbert, and he was in Marietta, Georgia, and I don't remember who the guy was, but he hit me up, and he said, hey, like, this guy Luke Combs is playing at this Carl Black Chevy dealership for, like, a VIP experience or whatever, and he just needs somebody to come play for, like, 20 minutes, and I was like, all right, cool. So then I didn't realize this, but I wasn't going to be singing. I was just playing lead guitar for this other guy that was going to be singing. So I get over there prepared to play like and sing and all this other stuff. And I get there and he's like, yeah, you're just going to be playing lead guitar for me. I was like, what? Like, I don't even really know how to play lead guitar, bro. Like, I'll just noodle and freestyle, I guess. But so Luke Combs, he actually came on after us, and he forgot his guitar cable. He had to use my guitar cable. Luke Combs. Luke Combs had to use my guitar cable, bro.
So go back and talk a little bit. You mentioned, you were playing like 5 to 7 gigs a week. Whenever COVID happened, you ended up, going to work at Bass Pro, going to work at the boat, and then going right back into the grind in Nashville. So I don't know anything about being a damn Nashville musician, but I mean, if you're playing that many gigs, you're still trying to write songs, you're still like solely focused on how you're going to pay your bills and stuff. Like, how do you manage the burnout that could be associated with working these long hours, working late into the night, getting up early in the morning, trying to get some writing in, and then working all these little side hustles just to keep, some food in your mouth?
Dude, the burnout happens at least once a month. At least once a month I get burnout. But when that does happen, I always have to. My roommate, he's the same way. Gabe, he always gets burned out a lot, and it's real frustrating when. I don't mean this in like a cocky way, but there's guys that we don't feel like are as good as us, that are having success and making it, and with the TikTok and blowing up and going viral and stuff. To my roommate, I feel like that's a burnout for him, because he's like, what am I doing, bro? Like, these guys are making it. What am I doing wrong? So, I don't know. When that happens, we just kind of have to take a step back, and it's always okay to take a step back. I feel like if whoever's listening, if you're going through something and you're really chasing something and you don't feel like you're getting anywhere, it's always okay to, take a step back and
reevaluate.
Yeah, exactly. So when that happens, we always try to take a step back. Sometimes we'll go to Gatlinburg. It's just like a 3-hour drive from Nashville. We'll go to Gatlinburg and kind of unplug. We'll go over there and bring a guitar. We'll write. Sometimes we don't write. We won't even pick up the guitar. We'll just go over there and kind of unplug and refresh. And when we get back, it's, we hit the ground running. And it's like it never happened.
Like refreshing.
Yeah.
So something you mentioned is being surrounded by good people in Nashville. And that's something I feel personally I've realized recently, is being surrounded by good people that are motivated and have similar mindsets to you. How important do you feel like that is for you and your success?
Very. I feel like that's big key point. If you surround yourself with people that that are selfish or don't have the same outlook as you, or same goals or the same motivation, that like weighs you down, believe it or not. So I try to surround myself with people that kind of have the same interests. I like to surround myself with people that are big in faith. They go to church when they can, and people that if I'm in a writing session and I throw out a line that's very bro country or something like that, they don't just shoot it down and get pissed off and walk out the room because I'm writing bro country. I don't know. I just try to surround myself with people that kind of basically are the same person as me, different skin.
Right.
What do you mean by bro country?
Like the Florida Georgia line.
Okay. Yeah, sitting on a tailgate, little string bikini, all that.
It's hard, man. It's hard to not write that stuff.
Yeah.
It's really hard because all that stuff rhymes and goes together and flows so good. It's just hard to not.
So what's the upcoming roadmap look like for Landon right now? What's in store? What's the near future look like? What's the roadmap look like?
Honestly, I don't know, dude. The roadmap is still not printed.
Still winging it.
Still winging it. But thankfully, I told you guys I was working with a manager now. He's kind of got basically my whole year mapped out. I don't really know what that looks like yet because we hadn't really gone into detail, but he kind of has my whole year planned out with releases and promotional things. He's set me up some rights and stuff. So for I guess my roadmap kind of looks like, I don't know, just
it looks like it's starting to get a little bit more honed in. We have a manager. They're going to start looking at bigger gigs.
Right. So yeah, he's hooking me up with, like I said, I had a few deals on the table. I don't know. It's hard to really fathom
to navigate.
What's going on, because I've gone all this time with nothing, like no big wins, really just a few little small wins here and there. And to me, this is just like, whoa.
Yeah, but you're keeping. I mean, that's what's important, and that's what's going to end up making you successful in the long run. Is that you're continuing to plug and plug and plug, and you don't. I think it's really admirable that like you left without a plan. You got over there. You never had a plan. A plan seems like it's starting to come together, and you're just focused on what the next thing is that you need to do.
Yeah.
But you're not. I don't think you're bogging yourself down with all the noise and clutter associated with not going over there and blowing up. And that grit is the whole premise of this episode that we're trying to get to. You know what I mean?
Well, they call Nashville a 10-year town, so I've only been there 6. Let's take up 4 years.
4 years. Yeah.
So that's another thing I try to keep telling myself. Everybody always says, and it has turned out to be pretty much true. It's a 10-year town. I think when Florida Georgia Line, I think when they blew up, they had been there for like 9, maybe 10 years. I think Brett Young, he was there for like 12 or 13 years. Same thing with Chris Stapleton. He was there for multiple years, and then all of a sudden it just happens.
So you have a kid. He's 16 years old. He's 17 years old. He's sitting in his bedroom. He's strumming a guitar. What are you telling him right now?
Don't stop. Don't stop. Dude, I mean.
He's you 6 years ago. What are you going to tell him?
Play for whoever. Don't be scared. If, like I said, somebody's going to tell you no, it might suck, but don't give up. Don't stop. Because once you do, I always told myself once I moved to Nashville, I was like, dude, if I didn't move here and I didn't try this, I would be regretting it so much right now.
I like it. Tell us a little bit where we can find you, Landon. Where can we find your music? Plug it.
So yeah, I've kind of rebranded the whole rap song. Kind of rebranded myself, I feel like. So growing up, everybody called me Lando. That was my nickname, baseball, and just growing up in general. So when the rap song kind of blew up, I was like, this is the perfect time to just rebrand. I can go down the mainstream country lane. I can go down the rap country lane. I could do it all. I can be myself now. And I feel like myself, growing up, everybody called me Lando. And whenever people did call me Lando, that meant we were tight. We were close. So now I feel like I can connect with everybody. So I just want to be called Lando. So I can connect with everybody, I feel like. But yeah, so Instagram, it's at Lando Magee, I think. Landeau, because I'm from Louisiana. I couldn't do the X. I couldn't put the X on there because some other dude already had it. But I almost wanted to hit him up and be like, yo, how much for that X? But so, yeah, and then I have 2 pages on Spotify right now. I have the Landon Magee page, and then I have just Lando. It's just Landau on Spotify, and that's where the rap song is. And then I have, I think, like 7 or 8 other songs under Landon Magee that I had released from when I moved there till probably 4 or 5 months ago. Facebook, I think it's Landon Magee on Facebook, but That's all I got. I don't tweet, man.
You want to give us on our closing? You want to give us the hook of the song that you that your most popular song?
Well, I'm not gonna sing it, but I can play it through my phone. Does that work?
I don't know if it transfers well that way.
Yeah, no, we wanted to get you in here, bro, because I think like it's important for people to understand that like success does not come overnight, and I feel like we keep drilling this down in almost every episode we come to. Success does not happen overnight, and like and it's the whole premise of the show. I mean, so that's why the show is called Hustle Makes It Happen. Like if you're gonna be successful at whatever you're doing in life, you have to be willing to go out, accept the failure, learn from it, take the next step, have the grit, have the mindset, and have the determination to win. I mean,
for sure,
you're living that in real time. You know what I mean? And I think regardless of what happens in your life, you're going to be able to look back on this period from when you were 19 to when you were 29, if you give yourself 10 years. And if something good happens, then, I mean, it's all worth it. But I think even if, country music doesn't take off for you, you're still going to be able to look back on this time in your life, and you're going to be able to be very fulfilled, be very happy. And I don't think we can understate how important it is just taking that leap. Like 90% of people have a plan and they have all these awesome ideas, but they're so scared to take that leap, and that's not you. You haven't done that, and that's admirable.
And a lot of people are also looking at the fact that they want the overnight success.
Yeah,
and that's literally 5% of the population that gets that instant gratification where they did one thing and they're this big now, or whatever lane that they're in, or they made one product and it grew to be this huge ordeal. This is the story that almost everyone goes through. The journey, the struggles, the fight, the digging out of the hole, the not giving up,
sticking it out.
And then when you get to reach that epicenter or whatever you're looking for, if you get there, if you don't, lessons were learned, growth happened, all these things happened in the process of that journey. Even if you didn't, in your head get to where you thought you were going to be, you're still ending up in a better spot no matter where it's at.
Also, I feel like when that overnight success happens and you do blow up, you do become whoever, you don't appreciate it as much rather than having to grind it out. You know what I'm saying? So I'm thankful. It's been hard. It's been rough, but in the end, I feel very blessed.
Keep hustling, man. We love it.
And I was talking about my coach, Nate Murray. He would always say, trust the process. So I keep rolling that in the back of my mind. Whenever something goes wrong or I'm not to where I exactly feel like I should be, I always say just trust the process.
That's right.
The next step's coming.
It's pretty sound advice.
Yeah.
Bro, I love that.
Anything.
Man, that's it, man. Look, definitely thank you. I'm glad we caught you before you made it back to Nashville, so I'm very glad you were able to join us. We're going to be watching. I'm definitely going to be watching. I know these two guys are too. So
Absolutely.
All of our listeners, go follow Landon on Spotify, follow him on Instagram, social media. Go look at what this kid's doing and support him however you can. This is why we're doing what we're doing, so you can hear the grind that people are going through in their everyday life to achieve whatever they're trying to achieve. That's the whole premise of the show. So, Landon, thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you.
Guys, this is another episode of Hustle Makes It Happen, the podcast. If you're going to help us grow, share the show. I can't understate how important that is. If you're going to help us grow, you have to share the show. So all of our social media links are in the description of the video on YouTube and in the description of the podcast on all your podcast platforms. Hit us up on social media. If you have somebody that you think is a good hustler and they're killing it in their game, we want to talk to them. Hit us up on Instagram direct message or Facebook Messenger or whatever. Send us an email, give us a call, get in touch with us in some way so we can talk to these people. We want to bring people that are winning at life in front of you and hear from them what they're doing to be successful. Episodes of this show drop every Tuesday at midnight. So whenever you wake up on Tuesday morning, pull up your favorite podcast platform, and that's where you're going to be able to find us. So every Tuesday at midnight, come back here for more Hustlers.